No, they won't see you, but they cannot see the.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to the Purusha Prabhupada. All glories to the great speaker for today, His Grace Ishwara Prabhu. And all glories to some Vaishnava devotees. Devotees, we thank you all for being here, and Ishwara Prabhu, thank you for being here, as always. We may put the verse on the screen and you take it over from me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Is the voice low?
No, your voice is good.
Okay.
Is mine low?
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of low.
Okay, I'll try to fix it. But your voice is good.
Okay.
Yes.
So just few people on the platform. Are we
At
gonna
the moment, yes.
people gonna come?
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah, just I'm seeing like 5 or 6 people on the platform. All right. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Yaramanari Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramanari Gurabe Gurachandaya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Bhaktaya Namo Namo Vedi Ramane Chaiva Purane Parate Tata Adavadya Chamade Chahari Savitagiyati Mokam Karati Bhatala Tango Langate Grihi Ya Kripataham Bande Shri Gudinatarine Paramananda Madhava Dhamma Prajetu Katavuta Paramoni Masham Satan Vedam Vastavam Atavastu Shivadan Tapatayu Mulana Sima Bhagavate Mahamani Kitenki Vaipara Ishvara Sadhyo Ridi Avarudita Kitibita Krishna Nigama Kapatalu Galitam Phalam Sukamukam Samjutam Debatam Bhagavatam Rasamalaya Mahura Urasika Babuka Yashava Yashamanaya Krishna Parama Purushe Bhakti Utapade Sansukamo Apaya Paha Ado Atoyam Brahma Sutranam Bharatata Vininaya Gayatri Bhasha Rupo Vidata Paribimita Sababediti Hasanam Saram Saram Paribimita Sababedantam Saram Hisi Bhaktamishyate Tara Sami Tasyati Tasyana Yatsya Syarati Kochi Harayana Namaskritya Narachava Narotamam Devam Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasapaye Swabhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Nastike Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vasudevam Sutam Devam Kansa Chandramadana Devaki Paramananda Krishna Bande Jagaguru Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Semate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pashatya Satarine Panchakapatarubhyascha Kripasindhibhavacha Paditana Pavana Vibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo 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 Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Pimapadayate Krishna Ya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaurati Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Siva Sadi Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Anandadilamaya Vigrahaya Bimavada Vichabisam Sundaraya Tasma Mahapurimarasa Padaya Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste. So I thank everyone for being present here this evening on our Hare Krishna African platform. And I hope more devotees will join in. The program we had last month, it was very nice. For the first time I could see about 35 to 40 devotees were present. And some places we have more devotees in the room. But I guess the regular Bhagavatam class is not like that. And I'm speaking from Vrindavan. I am in Vrindavan. So which means we have different time zones. It's about 8:40 p.m. here in India. But for your location there, some of you at morning time and some of you in the afternoon time. But the Bhagavatam must be spoken because Bhagavatam is beyond time boundaries. When Sukadeva Goswami, when he was speaking Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, the Bhagavatam was spoken over a period of 7 days. 7 days and 7 nights. So 7 days and 7 nights, and which means the speaker of the Bhagavatam, the hearer of the Bhagavatam, nobody was sleeping. And because they were hearing the nectarian Katha of Bhagavatam, no one was tired. They just intently sitting and hearing and speaking Bhagavatam. As a matter of fact, the more they hear, the more rejuvenated they become. No thirst, no hunger, no thirst. Everybody was just blissfully absorbed in hearing Bhagavatam. Because Bhagavatam, okay, India. So you have to excuse me because here in India sometimes we have life problems. So Bhagavatam is such that because it's Krishna himself, it's not different from Krishna. So by coming in contact with Bhagavatam, we are coming in contact with Krishna. So the life of devotees is Bhagavatam. By hearing and reciting Bhagavatam, our life we become very, very much alive. So therefore it's Negama kapatalu galitam phalam sukha mukha dravasam jutam pibatam bhagavatam rasamalaya mahura urasika bhuvi bhavaka. That this Bhagavatam, which coming from the mouth of Sukadeva Goswami, it become very, very tasty. just like a sweet mango, become very, very tasty because it's emanated from the mouth of Sukade Goswami. So therefore, I say, Pibata means drink this Bhagavad, drink this nectarian, drink this nectar kata. So it's a pleasure for our life that we're able to speak Bhagavatam, and it's a pleasure for our life that we're able to hear Bhagavatam. So today's verse, it's about Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma, who has been absorbed in the meditation, austerity, tapasya. And Lord Brahma was just been instructed by the Supreme Lord himself. Lord Brahma was the first person in the universe. He was the first person in the universe. When the creation was beginning, he was the first person. So he was situated on top of the lotus flower that generated from the abdomen of Lord Vishnu, Lord Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. And Lord Brahmaji, he was situated on top of the flowers. And then as he was situated, he was trying to find out the origin of his existence. The origin of his existence, because everything was dark. We could not see anything. And everything was silent, deadly silence. Everything was dark, everything was silence. Brahmaji was alone. And then he was looking all around. He was stretching his head. So as he was doing this, he had 4 heads. And then he heard this sound, tapa, tapa. Tapa means austerity. He heard the sound tapa, austerity. So when he heard his sound tapa, he said, oh, I must do tapasya, I must do austerity. So Brahmaji, he began austerity, meditation for 1,000 celestial years. 1,000 years of the demigods. The demigods, our one day, no, the one day of the demigods, that's our, I think that's our 6 months. So basically, Brahmaji was doing meditation for like 36,000 years. He was doing meditation. And then, as he was doing this, then his eye opened. This we have been through from the canto 2 all the way to the last chapter of this canto. How the Lord, Brahmaji, how after the Lord appeared to him, and the Lord gave him instruction about the process of creation. The process of creation and how everything is achieved by austerity, tapasya. So this is what we're going to be discussing tonight about tapasya, which Brahmaji had to undergo. So I just read the text, the Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Tapasyaye edamanena vidyaya chatma samstaya virvida vigena balo yapadvayun saham basha. So this is Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter 10, text 6. So the chapter is the process of creation. Word for word meaning, tapasya, by penance, he certainly, edamanena, by increasing, vidyaya, by transcendental knowledge. Cha, also Atma, self. Samstaya, situated in the self. Vivridha, matured. Vijnanam, practical knowledge. Bala, power. Yapat, drunk. Bayun, the wind. Saha Ambasa, along with water. Translation and purport by Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Long penance and the transcendental knowledge of self-realization had matured Brahma in practical knowledge, and thus he drank the wind completely, along with water. That was such a strong wind, and you could see wind and the water everywhere. Everywhere is full of water, nothing else. No planetary systems, nothing, full of water. So Prabhupada by Srila Prabhupada, Lord Brahma's struggle for existence is a personal example of the continued fight between the living entities in the material world and the illusory energy called Maya. Beginning from Brahma down to this age, the living entities are struggling with the forces of material nature. By advanced knowledge in science and transcendental realization, one can try to control the material energy, which works against our endeavors. And in the modern age, advanced materials, scientific knowledge, and penance have played very wonderful roles in controlling the powers of the material energy. Such control of the material energy, however, can be more successfully carried out if one is a soul surrendered unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead and carries out his order in the spirit of loving transcendental service. So quite a few points which Prabhupada mentioned in the purport. For example, he said, by advanced knowledge in science and transcendental realization, one can try to control the material energy, which works against our endeavors. So when we talk of this science, what this knowledge in science, this is not some ordinary mundane knowledge. This is not ordinary mundane science. After all, we know that humanity, they have been making so many endeavors, so many efforts to try to counteract with so many impediments which are being brought by the material energy. We call it nature. We could, let's say nature disturbance. He mentioned that the living entity will always have to struggle for existence in this material world. Sahasthanam, Napadana, Chatuspadam, Fagulin, Tatamatan, Jiva. Now, this is one statement by Nadamani. How the living entity they have to struggle one another, maintain their existence, like that. Struggling for existence, that's the mode of the material world. And this is in the context of the threefold miseries of nature, the threefold miseries, which the Levites have to constantly struggling against. These threefold miseries, we call it tapatra, which is misery caused by other living entities, like one nation declaring war on another nation. Misery is caused by one's own mind, getting disturbed all the time, so much anxiety, all the time. And natural calamity. Natural calamity. I mean, as a matter of fact, recently now, actually ongoing now, we see so much calamity that is going on in the world. So much calamity. Now, this is the rainy season, whereby flood, many cities have been overrun by flood. Humanity cannot do nothing against even the most advanced society, like in America. You have places like Texas. They're having this flood, and the road, the city road become like rivers. Many people are dying. Despite so much the most advanced materialistic science, they cannot do nothing. And when this misery come, they come unannounced. It cannot be predicted. They come unannounced. Earthquake comes, it comes unannounced. Flood, hurricane, all these things come on. Even though there may be some predictions, but you don't know to what extent they are going to come. You don't know to what extent they will come. So therefore, the human beings, they become helpless. They become perplexed. Because when it comes to material nature, the human beings, they just become a plaything. They're just a plaything in the hands of Maya. They become a plaything in the hands of Maya. So that is the situation of the material world. That is the situation of the material world. So in this verse, he said that Brahmaji, because he was given the commission, he was given the assignment to create the material world. Brahmaji is the chief engineer for the material world. But creating the material world is not simple. It's not simple like that. So in order to do so, Brahmaji first he has to do some austerity, some tapasya. He has to do some tapasya before that can be done. Initially, when the law was spoken to Lord Brahmaji, so the law was telling Brahma how, in order to achieve anything significance in this material world, austerity must be there. Tapasya must be there. And the Lord is telling Brahma, he said, Sijami tapasya bidam, grasami tapasya puna, bibami tapasya bishwan, binyam me duscharan tapa. So this is the Lord telling Brahmaji that I create this cosmos by penance. Sujami means I manifest. I create this unique cosmos by penance. I maintain it by the same energy, and I withdraw it all by the same energy. Therefore, the potency is penance. You can see it. Anything achievable in this material world that's supposed to be lasting, that's supposed to be meaningful, unless there's tapasya, unless there's potency behind it, no, success is impossible. So in the purpose, like Prabhupada was mentioning, this is from the Bhagavatam 2.9.24. So Prabhupada said, in executing penance, one must be determined to return home back to Godhead. That's the actual penance, to go home back to Godhead. And must decide to undergo all types of tribulations for that end. Just imagine. Maybe you can put the verse on the board so that the devotees can read. 2.9.24. That one must decide to undergo all types of tribulations for that end. Even for material prosperity and name and fame, one has to undergo severe types of penance. Otherwise, no one can become an important figure in this material world. I mean, you can talk to all the successful people, millionaires and billionaires. Did they get it easy? No, they didn't get it easy. They all have to have sleepless nights before they can attain their success. You can talk to any billionaires or zillionaires or whatever it is. Why then should there not be severe type of penance for the perfection of devotional service? So which means for material success, if austerity penance must be there, so how much more spiritual success, spiritual achievement, spiritual attainment? Now there's something that Prabhupada put. He said, an easygoing life, an attainment of perfection in transcendental realization cannot go together. You know, I mean, of course, you know that when we are preaching, we say, oh, Krishna consciousness is just, just chant and take prasad. Eat, dance, and be merry. And take prasad, do this, then you go back to Godhead. We all wish it could be that easy. Just eat, dance in the kirtan, chant, and then you go back to Godhead. No, that is not, this kind of preaching is just to encourage you that, yes, it's better to give up this materialistic life. Because materialistic life, it's always miserable beginning to the end. So therefore, come to spiritual life. Asatoma, Jyoti Kamaya, come to light. So an easygoing life and attainment of perfection in transcendental realization cannot go together. This should be a mantra for the devotees. This should be a mantra. Why do we think everything has to be easy in Krishna consciousness? Why do we think so? The Lord is more clever than any living entity. Therefore, he wants to see how painstaking the devotee is in devotional service. The order is received from the Lord either directly or through the bona fide spiritual master. And to execute that order, however painstaking, is a severe type of penance. One who follows the principle rigidly is sure to achieve success in attaining the Lord's mercy. Success in attaining the Lord's mercy. That's so this purport is actually full of meaning. How everything, success in spiritual life, it also involves austerity, tapasya. Just like Srila Rupa Goswami, in the Nectar Devotion, he listed 64 items of devotional service, which is considered to be 64 principles, which one has to follow in order to rise up to the level of being a devotee of the Lord. In order to rise up to the level of being able to render service to the Lord. 64 items that Rupa Goswami listed and enumerated. And each one of these 64 items, he gave elaborate explanations, he gave examples, scriptural references, and all that. He gave them. And then the last 5 of those items, the last 5 is Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Sadhu Sangha, Bhagavad Shravan, Sadhu Sangha in association with the devotees, the chanting, the Bhagavad Savamihya Bhagavatam, then the deity worship, Shraddha Seva, the deity worship, and then Mathura Bas, living Vrindavan, or to be in Vrindavan consciousness. These are the last 5 items which Srila Rupa Goswami listed. But these 5, there has to be taste for it. But to develop this taste is not easy. So Brahmaji, he was given the commission, he was given the order to create. So Lord Brahma is the engineer of the universe. So in the beginning, so Lord Brahma went to meditation, he went to austere tapasya, he went to tapasya. And then after a long period of time, then he mentioned here that through the process of penance and self-realization, which means the development of knowledge, the knowledge of the self, Atmavidya, knowledge of the self, and then Lord Brahmaji, he attained the strength of practical knowledge. The Vida Jnana Balu, which means he attained the strength of practical knowledge, which enabled him to control the wind, which means, of course, here we read that he said that he drank the wind completely along the water. Because when his eyes was completely open, he saw the strength of the wind that is there in the universe. And then the strength of the water that is there. So unless this wind and water is dealt with, then the creation is impossible. So by dint of his maturities in spiritual practice, self-realization, attainment of practical knowledge. So he mentioned that Lord Brahma drank the wind along with the water. But it's actually metaphorically speaking, that he was able to master the elements of material nature. That's what it means. He was able to master the elements of material nature. So Lord Brahma, he struggled. So he struggled. So now, what is this struggle? So actually, this struggle of Brahma is being compared to the circumstance of a spiritual practitioner, circumstance of a sadhana. That it said that the ongoing battle that conditioned soul face against Maya, the illusory energy. Because we always have to go after this ongoing battle is always there. That one has to go through Maya. Because as the more we try to make progress in spiritual life, in respect to control our senses, in respect to becoming absorbed in the practice of devotional service, the more we do that, the more material energy will throw bomb at us. The more material energy will throw bomb at us. So which means the only way by which a person can withstand the onslaughts of this ferocious nature of material energy is through the practical cultivation of spiritual knowledge. And what would I say that scientific transcendental, but when we say scientific, it means spiritual science, the developments. Imagine this is the only way, the only way by which a person can navigate and overcome the challenges of material existence. But however, there's one thing here. That yes, we have to perform austerity in Christian consciousness. One has to be very, very determined. But however, I mentioned that the mastery over material energy, it's only possible if one surrender to the Supreme Lord, Krishna, and serve him with bhakti. So that's all. So as it says that because this material nature, there is always difficulty is always there. Dealing with material energy is always there, and every devotee can identify with it. That yes, we are struggling constantly with material energy, constantly struggling. Even just like in our practical daily life of Krishna consciousness, every once in a while, you will always hear that, particular devotees is having some spiritual difficulties, some struggle. Even though such devotees, they might have been around for many, many, many years, some for decades and decades and decades. Still, we still hear them succumbing to the onslaught of material energy. We still hear them. So Lord Krishna says, he said, Mama Maya Duratya. He said, my material energy is extremely difficult. Mama Maya Duratya, Mayam Etam Tarantite. Difficult to cross the ocean material energy. Lord Krishna says so. He said, because my material energy is difficult. It's most difficult. Why is it difficult? Because Krishna's energy. It's Krishna's energy. He says, I said, Mama Maya, my energy. My energy is the most difficult to overcome. He said, the influence of my energy is the most difficult to overcome. So this is in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying. So if he said that it's most difficult to overcome, why do we think that we can take Maya for granted? Why do we think that way? Now, because of our neophyte nature, we think that, we can easily overcome the onslaught of Maya. One devotee was saying that when Srila Prabhupada, when he was at the last stage of his life in Vrindavan, he was at the last stage, and he was on the bed, very, very sick. He was on the bed. And then Srila Prabhupada, he called his disciples who were around. People like Tamakrishna Maharaj, Abhiran Prabhu, and many few devotees were there. So, and the Prabhupada told them, then Prabhupada said, all of you, hear me. He said, all of you, you're Krishna devotee. So, all of you should pray for me that I do not become subjected to the influence of material energy. You should all pray for me. I mean, this is the greatest devotee himself, telling these disciples that all of you pray for me that I don't fall into Maya. Okay, we know that that's impossible. He's a pure devotee, he's saying Krishna all the time. But when Krishna said that my energy is very difficult to overcome, even Krishna himself, he become amazed when he sees the working of his own material energy. Becomes amazed. So therefore, the pure devotees, they always be very, very conscious. Krishna's Maya, the materialistic energy. They're always very, very, very conscious. And of course, for one who was surrendered to Krishna, then it's not possible. Material energy will have no influence over such devotees. Just like the case of like Haridas Thakur, for example, he was meditating in his he was chanting in a cave, and a prostitute came to him in the middle of the night. This prostitute was not an ordinary woman. She was the most like very, very attractive, very, very beautiful. And she came to Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur, he had a very young body. It was nighttime. He was in the cave alone. And this prostitute came, and they're displaying all her feminine charms, dancing, singing, displaying all her feminine charms, just to capture the mind of Haridas Thakur. Because some envious persons wanted to see the fall of Haridas Thakur. But Haridas was a pure devotee of the Lord. So when this woman told Haridas, ask Haridas, my dear sir, I've come here to enjoy with you. You have such you have the capable body. So therefore, I've come here to give myself to you, to enjoy with you. So Haridas, he simply say, okay, I have made a promise that I must chant the cross and cross of Harina. So far, I have not finished chanting my rounds. So as soon as I finish chanting, I will be with you. So the lady was happy, and then Arya was chanting. She was sitting there listening, waiting for when Haridas will finish his chanting. But Haridas, he chant 24 hours a day. He would never stop chanting. Because Krishna is always dancing on his tongue. But for pure devotees, when they chant Krishna's name is very, very sweet. It's the sweetest thing. Madhu, the sweetest thing. So because Krishna's name is the sweetest thing, so when the pure devotees chant, they will never stop chanting because Krishna's name is so sweet. Krishna is sweet, his name is sweet, everything about him is sweet. So chanting his name, very sweet. So Haridas didn't stop chanting. So the person became tired. She became tired, and then she said, okay, so she left. And then she came back the next day. So when she came back the next day, they said, oh, I'm sorry that I could not fulfill your desire yesterday because finishing my round by chanting, it took me a long time. But I promise you today, as soon as I finish, I will fulfill your desire. So she was encouraged, so she sat down, waiting for Haridas to finish chanting. But again, Haridas never finished chanting. So she got tired and she left. And then when she came back the next day, the third day, Haridas was still chanting. But it so happened that because Haridas has been a pure devotee of the Lord, being the presence of a pure devotee is like a magnet. It's like a magnet being the presence of a pure devotee. So when as Haridas was chanting, and then this prostitute, the influence of Haridas enters her mind. And then she realized how sinful she had been. And then ultimately she surrendered to Haridas begging forgiveness, surrendered to him. And I just told him that, yes, when you came here the first day, I know where you came. I could have left the same day, but because I wanted to deliver you, that's why I stayed. So therefore, then she was instructed, okay, you give up all your sinful habits, I simply take up the chanting of the holy name. So if we surrender unto the Lord, then it's possible uh, it's possible to be relieved of all the existence, its material world. So the Brahmaji, he has come to the maturity. He come to the maturity of practical realization. The practical realization. So which means he had developed such a spiritual Shakti. He had developed such a spiritual Shakti that yes, now he's able to deal with the whatever is before him. So he was able to control the winds. It's mentioned that dealing with the elements of material nature. It's not easy for one to be able to deal with the elements of material nature unless one has spiritual shakti, spiritual strength. Dealing with the elements of material nature is not something that is easy. So when Lord Brahma he was seated on the lotus, which is emanating from the navel of Garbhakosha Vishnu, and he was faced with the tumultuous, strong wind. This is a primordial wind. This is not ordinary wind. This is actually a wind which caused universal destruction at the time of devastation. And as Lord Brahmaji was sitting on top of this lotus flower, so this wind was, was completely blowing heavily, that so much so that the lotus stem was also, going here and there, here and there, here and there, along with the causal waters. So Brahmaji, so he has to control the wind and the wave, the tidal wave of water that is going. He has to bring them under control. So through intense austerity and profound spiritual knowledge, so Brahma gained such mastery over the material elements that he could neutralize the threats. So metaphorically, say that drinking actually means he absorbed the chaotic wind and water. So this act signifies his readiness and qualification to engineer the cosmic manifestation. Because if he did not control the wind and the universal devastation water, then how could he create? Because creation involves so much diversity is going to be there, so much planetary system is going to be there. So Lord Brahma, he has to clear up everything. So he did this by ever increasing austerity. Ever increasing austerity, he did this. The realized knowledge augmented. So metaphorically, he drank the wind with the water. So this actually translates, it emphasized the continuous nature of his spiritual practice, and the source of his power being rooted in self-realization, the source of his power. So, of course, we can also analyze another perspective in this. So his strength and the practical wisdom fully mature through expanding penance, because his penance is continuous thing. continuous penance and constantly development of the knowledge of the soul. So he neutralized the wind and the accompanying water. So which means when we say drank actually means he neutralized the subduing elements of this universal elements. So that's just the literary thing. And then another translation says that through the power of his ever-growing asceticism and his deep-seated wisdom of the self, his scientific understanding and strength flourished, and he absorbed the wind along with the waters. So absorbing the wind, this points towards the yogic power of merging the external disturbances within himself, a concept found in advanced yoga practices. So Lord Brahma himself is a great yogi. Actually, he's a yoga master. All the yogi perfections, they all situated within Lord Brahma. And how do you gain this yogi perfection? You gain yogi perfection only, after a long practice. After a long practice of austerity, meditation, you can gain yogi perfection. They mentioned there are eight primary, eight mystic perfection, such as being bigger, being heavier than the heaviest, lighter than the lightest, Kamabasita, design anything that you want, being able to touch anything from anywhere in the world. Many yogi perfection is there. When you read the Puranas, the scripture, you will find the stories of so many yogis. So many yogis, the mystic sages, who will do the most extraordinary things. A good example was Agastya Muni. Agastya Muni was a sage. So one time, the demigods, they were fighting with the demons. And as they were fighting with the demons, so these demons, they were getting defeated. But as they were getting defeated, so they went to take shelter in the bottom of the sea. They went to take shelter on the bottom of the ocean. So as they went to take shelter on the bottom of the ocean, so the demigods, they figured that they could not do much with these demons. But so happened that in the nighttime, these demons, they will come out of the ocean, because normally at night, the demons are very powerful. So they're very powerful at night. So they will come out and then they will start creating so much disturbance, killing so many sages and so much disturbance. And then when the daytime comes, they will again go to the bottom of the ocean. So the demigod, they trying to figure out what to do. So they said that the only way this can be done, if someone can evaporate the ocean, if someone can dry up the ocean. You can just imagine you have Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, and who's going to just imagine that, okay, let's dry the ocean. How's that possible? But there was one great sage, mystic sage, Agastya Muni. So then we got approaching that the Agastya, you are the only one who can do this. You are the only one who can accomplish this feat, because the demons, they are there in the bottom of the sea. So you have to clear up the ocean, clear it up, so that we can deal with these demons. So Agastya Muni, he said, okay. So he went to the ocean, and then with the cup of his hand, he drank the whole ocean. He drank the whole ocean with the cup of his hand. So he's like, and of course, when ordinarily the faithless people, when they hear this, they say, oh, this is just some mythology. How can somebody drown the ocean? They say, oh, this is just some mythology, that otherwise not, it's something that is meant for the simple-minded people. But that's the Puranic statement. So Agasha Muni, he drank the ocean. So when he drank the ocean, and then the demigods, they're able to deal with these demons. They're able to deal with them and kill them. And then after drank it, so again, the ocean was again filled up again through Agatha-muni by urinating, again fill up the ocean back up again. So this thing is possible by great people who have immense power. They can do what is unimaginable. They can do it. So Siddha Swami, one of our great acharya, he had commented on this verse, which we are reading today. So he said, the act of drinking is a demonstration of Brahmaji's yogic prowess. The act of drinking. It's a demonstration of the yoga power of Lord Brahma. For him, it is not merely a metaphorical act, but a display of supernatural power gained through devotion and austerity, signifying his complete control over the primal elements. So, which means Lord Brahma, he performed great austerity for thousands of years. But in performing austerity, simultaneously, his meditation on the Supreme Lord was ongoing, because he know that just like you mentioned, Vasudeva Paratapa, Vasudeva Parankriya, that the Lord is the goal of austerity. The Lord is the goal of all activities. The Lord is the goal of all endeavor. Vasudeva Parangyanam, Vasudeva Parantapa, Vasudeva Parangati. Vasudeva means Lord Krishna. He is the Lord of knowledge. He is the Lord of everything. He's the goal of life. He's the goal of life. Like, I think there's one verse by Nada Muni. He said, Haradito, Yadi Harita Pasatata Kim, Naradito, Yadi Harita Pasatata Kim. That, what is the purpose of your austerity? What's the value of your austerity if you cannot satisfy the Supreme Lord? If the goal is not to satisfy the Supreme Lord, what's the purpose of your austerity? Aradiso yadi arita pasatota kim. Naradito yadi arita pasatota kim. And for one who have attained the Supreme Lord, then, maybe austerity is not even needed anymore. After all, the goal is to attain the Supreme Lord. And then mention that Yasmin, Praptin Eva, Sava Eva, Praptin Eva Bhavati, that by attaining him, everything is attained. Yasmin Vigana, Sava Egana Vigatan Bhavati, by knowing him, everything is known, and by attaining him, everything is attained. He means what? That is the Supreme Lord, Krishna, by the Supreme Lord. When you know him, everything is known. When you attain him, everything is attained. So through devotion, so by virtue of his austerity and through devotion, so Lord Brahma was able to have complete control over material energy. He was able to have complete control over the material element. And then as we're going to be reading in the subsequent chapters, how Lord Brahma is doing, how he does various creations, as we're going to be reading in subsequent chapters. So Srila Jiva Goswami, in his Krama Sandarbha, he also said that he talks about the nature of Brahma's knowledge. So Jiva Goswami, he explained that Brahma's knowledge was not mere theoretical knowledge, but Atma Samstaya, which means it was fully established in his personal experience of the self and his relationship with the Supreme Lord. So which means it's not a dry knowledge. It's a knowledge that is impregnated with a full understanding of itself and a full understanding of one's relationship with the Supreme Lord. So this realized knowledge was the very source of his power to subdue the cosmic disturbances, to subdue that. And Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, normally whenever we give classes, we always have to consult many other acharyas, because Srila Prabhupada is our main source of reference. But sometimes also we also source out what the previous acharyas, what they've said on the same topic. So Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, Vishnu Chakravarti, so he also highlights the emotional and devotional aspects of the narrative. So he emphasized that Brahma's ability to control the elements was not an independent power, but a direct bestower of grace from the Supreme Lord, who is pleased by his unwavering penance and devotion. The act of drinking the wind and water is a testament to the empowerment a devotee receives to carry out the Lord's will. So this is the act of. So the Lord gives one all the energy, just like when we are rendering a particular devotional service, we know that sometimes there are many devotees who are able to achieve, who are able to accomplish so many things. Who are able to accomplish so much greatness, especially in the execution or the propagation of Krishna consciousness. Many devotees are able to accomplish so many things. But all those accomplishments, is it because by their own efforts? No. It is because the Lord's own mercy upon them, so they're able to achieve greatness, all this greatness, able to achieve that. But if a devotee think that, oh, I'm achieving all these things, just see, bringing so many people to Krishna consciousness. I am doing this. I'm doing so much book distribution. I'm doing this. So the concept of I am, that is false ego, ahankara. That's Maya. Which means one is longer seeing the loss factor. One is rather seeing oneself as the source of things, but actually it's because of the Lord. Not a single blade of grass move without the supreme will of the Lord. To me, Savesware, Brajendra Kumara, Tomarecha Vishwe, Sajam Samhara. This is saying that, oh my dear Lord, everything is moving, everything is possible, only because of your will only. Even a living entity cannot even lift its finger without the supreme will of the Lord. So if we're able to accomplish something, we should definitely immediately recognize that, yes, this is the Supreme Lord who is being merciful upon us, and is giving us the knowledge, is giving us the strength, the power to be able to accomplish these things. But if we think we are doing, that is Maya. And that's why you see that many devotees who have done so many great things, especially in the propagation of Christian consciousness, done so many great things. And all of a sudden they fall down. All of a sudden they fall down. They just live just like that. And everybody should be wondering, oh, how come this devotee, this such a great person, what happened? You know, how is this possible? What this person is doing? All of a sudden, this person just become a victim in the hands of Maya, in the hands of material energy. How come? This comes when one start thinking that, yes, I am the strength, I am the source, it's because of me, this is happening. No. Nothing's happening because of us. Everything's happening because of Krishna. Everything's happening because of the Lord. You know. So now there are some scriptural references also. So in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 15, Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, Yarinam Vatayantiete Purusam Purusasaba Samaduka Sukam Dhiram So Vitattvaya Kapate. Oh, best among men Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. This is what Lord Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita 2:15. So basically, this verse simply it internalizes the struggle of the devotee. So just as Brahma controlled the external chaotic elements, so a wise person controls the internal dualities of happiness and distress, remaining unshaken. You see? So in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali is also mentioned, Tato Dua Duana Bikataha. From mastery of the posture, there is no assault from the dualities of heat and cold. So which means if one is able to master the posture of yoga process, the posture yoga process, which we call yam, niyam, and all that. By such mastery, then it said that there cannot be assault coming from the dualities of heat and cold and happiness and distress of this material world. So this text basically is the foundational text of yoga philosophy, which directly links the practice of physical and mental discipline to immunity from the disturbance of the material world, mirroring Brahma's control. And then the Mundaka Upanishad. So he mentioned Saho Vaita Paramam Veda Amaiva Bhavati. This is from Mundaka Upanishad. One who knows that supreme, who knows that supreme person, one who knows that supreme Brahma becomes Brahma himself. Brahma means spirit. So which means if you know that supreme spirit, then you become spiritual yourself. So which means this verse basically speaks to the ultimate source of power. By realizing one's spiritual identity and its connection to the Supreme, one transcends material limitations. So Lord Brahma's acts can be seen as a manifestation of this principle. His knowledge of the self gave him power over the material creation. So in conclusion, we see, so in this verse, which is Bhagavatam verse 3:10-6, which you're reading today, So it basically opens up a universe of meaning, which means there are so many meanings. It can be taken varieties of ways. So many meanings in respect to spiritual cultivation. So which means whatever is there are many alternatives, many citations, which basically shedding light on different aspects of the intricate relationship between spiritual aspect, divine grace, and the ability to transcend material challenges. So, whether understood as a literal yogic feat, a metaphorical act of control, or a demonstration of divine empowerment, so this verse powerfully conveys that true mastery comes not from external force, but from inner realization and unwavering devotion. What is devotion? Bhakti. Bhakti man Brahmidam Vidya. So Lord Krishna told Arjuna, only by bhakti can everything be attained. By bhakti alone, that devotion to the Lord. Because the Lord, He's the Lord of yoga. He's the Lord of penance. He's the Lord of everything. So therefore, devotees, they surrender to the Lord. They stick to their devotion. They stick to their spiritual practice. They stick to their spiritual practice, constantly warding off the various onslaughts of material energy, the various onslaughts of Maya. But in fighting with Maya, they know that to fight with Maya, they don't think they can defeat Maya, because they know that who is Maya? Maya is Krishna's energy. How are you going to fight with the Lord's energy? But to deal with that is the Lord devotees. They fully take hold of the lotus feet of the Lord. Fully take shape of the Lord's lotus feet. And that's why the devotees have to be constantly prayerful. Constantly prayerful. When you read Pratana of Narottam Das Thakur, the Pratana of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it's so full of this. When a devotee take to the spiritual path, first, one begins with the regrets of one situation in this material world. Hari Hari Bifale Janama Gunainu. Manusha Jamana Paya Radha Krishna Bhaja. Oh, my dear Lord, what is it has brought me to this material world? What has brought me to this material? I came to this material world. I have to go through so many spaces of life, so many spaces. Now, coming to the human form of life, which is very, very difficult to attain. Manusya Jamana Paya. Manusya Jamana Paya means the human form of life is most difficult to attain. Because the human form of life is attained only after one gone through so many millions and millions and millions of species. And it's in the human form of life only can one actually develop spiritual knowledge. Can one actually finish the process, the journey of being this material world? It's only in the human form of life only. The human form of life is possible to understand oneself, to understand one's relationship with the Supreme Lord, and to engage in the activities that will connect on with the Supreme Lord, that will enable one to ultimately becoming devoted, becoming a loving devotee of the Supreme Lord. It's not possible in other forms of life. Even in the demigod form, it's not possible. It's difficult. And of course, one can be a demigod and be a devotee, but it's difficult because as a demigod, which means one is one is inhabitants of the higher planets. And as an inhabitant of the higher planet, one is fully absorbing enjoyment because there's no problems of life. There's no misery in the higher planets. Everything is pleasurable. There's no problems in the higher planet. Nobody disturb you there. But in the higher planet, you cannot stay there forever, because when you go there, when whatever credit you've done, you have, whatever credit you have that take you to the heavenly planet, once that credit is finished, then again, you have to fall down. You have to come down to this earth planet, earthly realm. You have to come down again. You have to come down. So that's what the demigod themselves, when they pray to the Lord, they actually pray to come and take birth as humans. They pray to come and take birth as humans, because as human, then one can actually practice spiritual life. One can practice Krishna consciousness as human. One can take to the process of Namavida Bhakti. Whereas in other forms of life, even as in the form of demigod, this is not possible. It's not possible. So therefore, Manusya Jamana Paya, Radha Krishna Nabajiya, Janiyasu Bijanika Kaina. So the great Acharya is saying that this human form of life that is very, very difficult to attain. I've attained this human form of life, but I don't do Krishna bhajan. I'm not engaging in the worship of Radha and Krishna. So because I fail to do so, what is my position? My position is like a person who knowingly drank a poison. When somebody gave you a cup of water and tell you that, oh, by the way, this cup of water is mixed with poison. Still you drink it. Still you drink it. Even though you are told that what cup of water is mixed with poison, so you drink it. So our position is like that. We attend the human form of life. A human form of life is meant for God realization, but we don't utilize it. When somebody tells us, chant, 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 we are replying, can't. You know, like Slepopa was making an amusing statement one time like this. You know, when a woman was telling her husband that, my dear husband, chant, 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 chant. And the husband is saying, can't. You see? Chant. We're telling people, and they say, oh, can't. You know, when devotees are going on the street distributing books, they say, the devotee say, my dear sir, take this book. The person say, no, I can't take it. And they are telling you, get a job. You know. So this is the position of the material world. We tended to chant, come to the human platform. They say, oh, no, they can't. So this is drinking poison. Knowingly drinking poison. Dulaba Madhusajama. Human form of life is very, very difficult to attain. And practically in every chapter of Bhagavatam, we're going to be getting this instruction only, that yes, the purpose of human form of life is to worship God, is to develop our loving relationship with the Supreme Lord, and then reestablish our connection with Him, and then go to the kingdom of God. So this is the position of the material world. We tended to chant, come to the human platform. They say, oh, no, I can't take it. And they are telling you, get a job. And they are telling you, All right, so I'm going to stop here. If anybody have any question, comments, something to add, you can please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, as always. This is a very, very important topic because as the text itself says and the purport, and you also highlighted, this hard struggle for existence is very real. Devotees, if anyone may have questions, reflections, comments, realizations you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflections. Hare Krishna. Well, Prabhuji, if Lord Brahma, who was born directly from the divine body of Lord Vishnu, is even going through these challenges against the illusory energy of the Lord, then what is our fate? What will be the hope that we shall be successful in overcoming the dictates of this external energy of the Lord? Sometimes you read about these great personalities and what they had to go through. Well, sometimes we say it's pastimes. But if it were not pastimes and if they had to go through what they went through, I'm wondering what is the fate of somebody like rotten individual like myself trying to serve the Supreme Lord and overcome the dictates of material energy. Is there any hope?
It's as to say that the material energy is the lost energy, it's Krishna's energy. And the material energy know that living entities, those who are claiming that they want to serve the Lord, they're not really sincere. They want to serve the Lord, but in reality, they want the Lord to serve them. The Lord, give me this, give me that, protect me. If I don't serve, if I don't this. So it's like a lot of condition is there. You know. So therefore, material energy, she give lots of trouble to devotees. She give lots of allurements. So where's the hope for, especially for struggling devotees like ourselves? So the hope is, which means our only source of strength is the last lotus feet. We have to always, constantly take shelter of the lost feet. We have to take shelter of the lost feet. We have the 9 price of devotional services there, which have been listed. And when we read the life of many, many great devotees, we find their life is always centered around constantly taking shelter of the lost feet. Because the moment you become slacking, you will always get tests. The Maya will test you, and Maya do not stop testing the devotees, no matter how great the devotee is. Maya is always testing the devotees. So why Maya have to test devotees? Why is that? Because she's also Krishna's energy. Why does she have to test devotees? Because what happened is that bhakti is such that once a person becomes actually devotee, the Lord himself becomes the servant of the devotees. The Lord himself serves the devotees. The Lord himself renders service to devotees. But this is something that Material energy said that why will I because even though the Lord is supreme independent, but when it comes to his devotee, he loses independence. The Lord becomes servant of his own devotees. We can see that in the life of Maya. So therefore, the Lord does not easily grant bhakti, because the bhakti enables him to become servant of his own devotees. So why will he give that? And especially if devotee is not really that serious. So therefore, our hope is to always pray and take shelter and hold on to the faith of the lost faith, the lost court. Since we have no access to the Lord, we cannot see the Lord, but we can see his pure devotees. And find his pure devotees that we can take shelter of, who can actually deliver us unto the Lord. So, but we should never take ourselves that, oh, I am strong. And now I've become strong now, and nothing can touch me. That's what we call pride. If you have pride, then the Lord will find a way to crush that pride. So, sometimes I see devotee that way. A person will start broadcasting their own particular glories, their particular achievement. This is not a devotee's way to be broadcasting how the world is recognizing you, how the world is, praising you. This is a trick of Maya. We are nobody, but if we think we are somebody, that is Maya. A devotee always have to think that is nobody. That's the mood of his devotee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that we always have to be humble all the time. That if you want to chant the Lord's name all the time, we always have to be humble, we also have to be tolerant. Raghunath Goswami, when he came to Vrindavan 500 years ago, he made it a rule that every day he will pay his obeisances to 1,000 people every day. He made this a regulatory principle, that he pays obeisances to 1,000 devotees every day. And those are great devotees. These are the great associates of the Lord. But they made such principle to themselves. So if they can do that, why not we? Why can we follow their footsteps? So the part of devotional service is not that cheap. It's not really cheap. But when we are neophyte, we are beginning, we are new Krishna constant. We're told, just chant Hare Krishna and then you'll be happy. Everything's okay. But that's just the teaser. That's just the taste. Give you some taste, some attractive to come inside. But the more you start getting involved, the more you realize this actually process is actually difficult. But that's the best thing in the world anyway, because material world is, we know how the material energy treat us. Material energy is never kind upon us. But we think, oh, we are going, but she's never kind upon us. She's a witch, putting us on a lap, making us sitting on a lap. And then she's patting us, oh, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay, you're all right, you're all right. But she's constantly giving us the threefold miseries all the time. But she's giving us false hope that, oh, you're okay. Everything is bad now. Things going to get better for you. Just keep sitting on this lap. This is the trick of Maya. So devotees knows better that yes, we're going to practice devotional service. The problem will be there, but by the mercy of the Lord will help us to overcome all the problems. The problem will be overcome by the virtue of our surrendering to the Lord. So, we have no strength of us, but the strength is there. So like Prabhupada said, I'm always praying to the Lord that I do not fall into Maya. I'm always fall to Lord Krishna. I'm always praying to Lord Krishna. So we have to follow the footstep of the great personalities that way. And if you do that, as we are reading the text today, Brahmaji, He was able to control the wind. This is the universal destruction wind and the water of devastation. He was able to control the element. He was able to control it. So we also be able to overcome if we do the same as Brahma did. Self-realization, austerity, do whatever is necessary. Then be able to have the mastery of senses and nature, and be able to enable us to surrender to the Lord. So okay, we have to.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu. There are 2 hands up. Answer Dr. Prabhu, please. You may unmute.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please can you accept my spiritual obeisances? All glory to you, all glory to Prabhupada, and all glory to you. Thank you for the wonderful class. Maharaj, my question is a little bit related to His Grace Sadi's question. I wanted to ask this question yesterday, but I didn't get opportunity. So, Maharaj, my question is that all the prophets which God sent to this material world, if you look at their life, they all went through a very, very difficult times, especially like Lord Jesus Christ. He was beaten, spit on. Our dear Sri Prabhupada, he was hit by a bull. His store was stolen. Moses went through the same thing. Prophet Muhammad went through the same thing. They go through a lot of hardship and suffering. And for example, like Elijah, when he met the Baal worshippers, he commanded a fire and they will not be able to do that. And he beheaded all of them. So he has to come back like as John the Baptist. But it is said that the Nitya Siddhas, they cannot be affected or they cannot be fall down. So all this suffering they went through, is it because of their karma, or Krishna is using that to teach us a lesson? If you can help me to understand that, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
So the great personalities, when they come here, the great personalities coming to this material world is never the same as we, the ordinary conditioned souls. Now, being in material world, because material energy, everybody who's here will have to undergo the suffering of material energy, like sickness or many things like that. And that is real. That is real. That's reality. It's not that they're pretending. That's just real. That yes, as long as the material world, difficulty will be there. You will get sick, you get attacked, all this will be there as long as you're in the material world. So all the great devotees, they have to go through that, because that's just the nature of material world. But however, even though the suffering is there, in the material world, the suffering is there, but the great devotee did not identify themselves with that suffering. They did not identify themselves with the dualities of the material world, because this material world is full of duality: heat and cold, happiness and distress. So material world is full of dualities. But the great personalities, because they are their spiritual consciousness, so they are beyond the the effect of the material energy, they are beyond the dualities of the material world, because they don't identify themselves with the material world. Even though they are here and they're undergoing that suffering, their body is getting sick, they're getting attacked, but still they don't identify, because they don't identify with it. So they're not really affected by the misery, because of their not identification with it. So therefore they don't lament. Whereas everybody else lamented because of our identification with the material energy. If somebody come now and give you a big slap, you start saying, oh, who are you? You start getting angry. The great personality, you slap them, you beat them, they will not protest. They say, oh, this person has been sent to me by the material energy, and this person is being sent to me as a reaction of what I've done previously in my previous life. So therefore, they don't get angry. They don't get angry with anybody. So when you read the quality of great persons, one of the qualities is that they don't get angry of anything. No anger. Actually, there are so many qualities like that. So again, the great personality, whatever problem they have, the problem is real, but they don't. But there's no identification with their problems. No identification. So that's something that we have to realize. We can't just be like Sahaja. Sahaja means when we see the guru getting sick, we say, "Oh, he's just doing lila." That is Sahaja. That is Sahaja. He's just doing lila only. Now, it's reality, but he's not identifying with it. Okay.
Okay. So for your answer, that means what happened to them is their karma.
It's not their karma. Is the effect, is the reality of being this material world.
Oh, okay.
The reality of this material is not, they don't have karma, but it's the reality of being this material world. Anybody in the material world have to go through these problems of life. For example, if you are in the forest where there are so many bees, it doesn't matter where you're going to get stung by the bees. So it's just the reality of being in the material world. Material world is a place whereby there's constant disturbance in the material world. Constant disturbance is always there. So, but the great personalities, they are not affected by it. They are beyond the reactions. They are beyond the dualities of the material world. They are beyond the dualities. They are not afraid of material. They are not afraid. They are beyond that. They are not fearful. They are not fearful of materialistic existence. But when they teach us that yes, the suffering is there, but if you take shelter of Krishna, you can rise above the suffering. If you take shelter of Krishna, you can rise above it. So how do we become fearless? We become fearless by taking shelter of the Lord. Then we can become fearless. So ISVARA, Prabhu?
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. ISVARA, Acharya, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. My voice audible?
Yes.
Very nice, thank you. All the rest, thank you very much. Well, I have two very disturbing questions. I hope you tolerate them. One, I'm beginning to get worried. We seem to have very contradictory definition for Maya, unless you can explain to me better. So we say Maya is the energy of Krishna, right? Is the external energy. Is that right?
Yeah.
Then again, we say that Maya is that which is not. It's illusion. So, first, how can something that does not exist, which is not, how can such a thing give you problem? That which is not cannot give us problem. And if Maya is the external energy of Krishna, then how come we say that it is what is not? how can the energy of God be considered to be what is not? So please, can you explain this definition? Because it's getting to work on my head. Maybe I'm the one having
Maya means not this. Maya, not this. Sanskrit word, two words mean two letters put together. Ma and ya. Ma means not, and ya means this or that. Not this, not that. That's what Maya means. So basically, the Maya is reality, is real. But actually Maya created the material world. The material world functions. The Maya Devi says basically make possible this material world. But why she make possible this material world? Because we turn our face away from Krishna. When we turn our face away from Krishna, so the material world is created for us. Now, the material world or the material energy does not exist because it exists at some time, and it is winding up and again become manifest again. But the creation material world of the creation of the material energy, which is this material world, it is temporary. The Mahadevi herself is eternal, but the creation is temporary. That's something we have to put into existence. So ma and ya, not this, not that. The illusion is that we think that we can enjoy the material energy, but we cannot enjoy the material energy. But we think that we can enjoy the material energy. That is illusion. So therefore, we have to get out of this illusion mentality that we can enjoy the material energy. And because we're in this illusion mentality that we can enjoy material energy, so therefore we are suffering. We are put into suffering because of our mentality that we can enjoy material energy. So spiritual process is to start annihilating what is not Krishna. So when we say Maya means not this, not that, not this, not that, this is not Krishna consciousness, this is not Krishna, this is not Krishna, which means anything that is devoid of reality, that is devoid of reality of Krishna consciousness, that is Maya, which means what is devoid of divine consciousness, that is Maya. So Maya itself, the word Maya, have many, many terms. It has many, many terms. There's a personality behind Maya, the material energy, which is Mahadevi herself. Durga Devi, the wife of Lord Shiva, she's the personification of Maya. You know, and then our conception of thinking that we are here to enjoy this material world. That conception is Maya, which means is illusion, which means doesn't exist, but we think that it exists. We think that enjoyment is possible when the reality is not really possible. It's not really possible. But we think that it's possible. So the material energy, she put that in our consciousness, that illusion, understand that we can enjoy here. And that's how the materialistic existence goes on. This material work goes on because of this mentality of the living entities who think that they can enjoy the material world. So therefore, material energy goes on. And it's going to be like this for eternity. They say Anadi by Moka. Anadi means no beginningless. Of when, since how long as living entities meet this material world, it is beginningless. And there is no end to it also, because there will always be conditions in the material world. There's always be conditions so who think that they can enjoy Maya. there's always. So it is, I'm sure you have, you understand. You only was asking question to teach others. You know that very well. So, so yeah.
I thought you finished. Can I?
Yeah, I think you said you have a second question.
Yeah, no, okay, first, while you're speaking, Prabhu, I got some realization. So let me share that, and I'll ask my second question. So,
okay.
So when we say that Maya is Krishna's energy, so I think I remember we also say that it is like the shadow, that is the shadow of Krishna, just like our own shadow also. So we cannot say that it does not exist, and in reality, actually, it's like it does not exist. But it's and then they give us the example of food inside a reflection. Food inside mirror. When you're hungry, you cannot eat it. But then that reflection is real, but you cannot eat it. So I get that understanding why you're speaking. That realization comes. Otherwise, it was like in my head. But thank you. Now, my second question. You mentioned about Agas drinking the whole ocean, and people will say that is a myth. All right? Ocean is bottomless, and you don't see the end. And of course, and the human being who drank it, you can see the whole stomach. You can see that he's limited in his body, but then he can drink the whole ocean that has no limit. And where he put it, we don't know. So not only this kind of story, there's so many stories in the Vedic literature that are so super extraordinary. So many. You cannot compare with any other literature in the world. Neither Bible, Quran, they don't even come close when it comes to, speaking about extraordinary powers. Okay. But then you find that the Vedic preachers are not, they don't exhibit powers. They don't show miracles. And you find that those who have very little explanation of powers in their literature, they are making big crusades to demonstrate power. But in the Vedic literature, we have so much extraordinary power that we cannot even, fathom how those kind of things can happen. But then the pictures do not demonstrate this. So how come there is this opposite way of presenting, super extraordinary power? Some people don't have much of it, but they want to go out there and demonstrate it. And people believe them. In fact, one of the reasons why people come to us is they believe that Vedic literature is more authentic, and the powers that are described there are real and powerful. So they come to us, and when they see that we don't show any of these things, they go. And so can you just explain why it is not in the culture to demonstrate some of these powers from time to time by the exponents of Vedic wisdom? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Well, many times you find this power, just like, for example, if you come to the Kumbh Mela in India, we just had one Kumbh Mela at the beginning of this year. You can actually see so many powerful yogis. You can see many powerful yogis. And many of these yogis, they are hundreds of years old. They're hundreds of years old. And Huh? So they only comes whenever there's a cumula, like they come every 12 years. They usually they live in the Himalayas, in the mountains. And then they come down every 12 years or so, just for the cumula only. So you find so many of these powerful yogis who actually have lots of powers, a lot of powers. And sometimes they demonstrate it sometimes. Sometimes they do. And most of the time they don't. So the power is there. If one is able to perform the austerity, when we get the powers, the austerity is there, the power will be there if one perform the austerities. When LeBron performed austerity for a long period of time, so they get the powers. Vishwamitra performed austerity for 60,000 years, so he was able to create the heavenly planet. so if one perform austerity, one will get the power. So now, in case of our many great devotees who comes, because normally our great devotees, great acharyas, they already by naturally they already possess of many powers, already in possession of that. So from time to time, if it's needed, they will exhibit powers if it's needed, if it's required. Just like Ramanujacharya, he performed so many powers. If in the case of Madhavacharyas, many miracles performed. Even as early as 500 years ago, people like Tulsidas, who will heal the sick, even raise the dead. Many is there. And many associates of Mahaprabhu, they will display so many powers. You know, there was one devotee who was he was asked to take disciple. Many people prayed to him because he was an advanced devotee, very advanced devotees. And they were requesting him to take disciple. He said, no, he will not take any disciples. But they kept requesting, he said, okay, today I will take the disciple. The first person I see, that person will be my disciples. But as this person was walking, the first person he saw was a dead person. This person just died on the road. So when this great devotee saw this person, he said, oh, you, get up and chant, get up. And this person was, even though he was dead, he rose up, was alive, and then was chanting, he became the disciple. Sankaracharya, he also did that. You know, so many great personalities. They will perform extraordinary things, but they don't make it as a central point of their activities. They don't make it a central point of their activities. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they all display some elements of miracle. There's some miracle they perform. So some power will always be there, but it's not pronounced, like that, because it's not required, it's not needed. So therefore you will not see them performing all this, what we call miracles, or the of course, as I said, that when someone becomes a devotee of the Lord, so he's become the possessor of mystic powers. All the mystic power, the mystic perfection, they actually come to serve a pure devotee of the Lord. So a pure devotee will utilize those mystic perfection when it is needed. I'm sure many close disciples of Prabhupada, they could testify to many miraculous things that Prabhupada must have performed. Otherwise, preaching Krishna consciousness in an atheistic, virtually atheistic country like the West, it's not something that is ordinary, So, but it's not the focus of the existence. The focus is not to make everyone see what power they have and what power they have. Yes, in the scriptures, in this Vedic Sastra, we find so many great personalities with a lot of extraordinary powers. As a matter of fact, I'm working on a book now. It's called Bhaktamala's, very big book, multi-volume book. He finds so many fantastic stories there. Many fantastic stories. So when the book come out in the next few months, I will encourage everyone to try to get the book. You will come across so many fantastic stories. Far out stories you will come across. Okay. I'm sure you yourself, Prabhu, I'm sure you have some mystic power. Maybe you just don't like to display it to other people. You don't like to show it. Devotee have power, devotee have something. You know, we all of us in our day-to-day, in our, execution of Krishna consciousness, sometimes this thing just comes, even without we realizing it. It just comes without we realizing it just comes. It comes, but we don't know. Okay. Because we don't know, because the law do not want us to become pride, to become puffed up because of that. Otherwise, we start saying, oh, I have the power. I can heal the sick. I can this. No. The world is full of cheaters. So devotees have this power, but even we never see them go ahead. The brokers don't have the power. Let me do this. Devotees will never do that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji. I think one thing for sure is that, like you were saying initially in your presentation, that whatever success a devotee may be able to achieve, he gives glory to the Lord. He attributes it to the mercy of the Lord. So devotees may have some powers, but they do not consider that they have. They consider it is the Lord's mercy. And maybe as you were talking about Prabhu, maybe someday soon, I may have to share how, by the mercy of Shri Guru and Krishna, Srimad Bharacharya Prabhu was used to save my wife and my child some time ago. Had it not been him, I mean, if Krishna had not used him, I probably would have lost my wife and my child. So that is one of such powers. So thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So,
well, if no devotee has further questions or reflections, comments, then we may bring today's amazing lecture to a close. Shri Shara Prabhu, thank you so much for always rendering this service. Even though it's very inconvenient for you, your time is always late, but you still make time. I was particularly so much concerned during the 5 days of the genesis of ISKCON West Africa, because we were doing it for so long and it was going very deep into your time late. But you still were able to stay for the entire 5 days. Unbelievable. Well, I don't know, Prabhuji, if you have some concluding remarks to make before we bring this to a final close, Vishwara Prabhu.
Well, I mean, it's 10:30 my time, 10:30.
Yeah.
My time. So I had to wake up from Mangalati tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think whatever we're reading, this Prabhupada's purport, I think we should just reflect on that. We should reflect on this, those two, the verse which I read Srijan Tapasa Vedan, Prabhupada put so much in that. So we show that, easy life and Krishna consciousness is not, do not go together. Prabhupada said that. Easy life and Krishna consciousness do not go together. That should be one of our motto. That yes, difficulty has to be there. Many times we get attacked by other devotees. So when we are attacked by other devotees, we should not be disturbed. Tolerance is one of the austerity that we have to perform. Tolerance. Just like for once in a while, I glance at the Hare Krishna African Forum, and I can see so many things that goes on there. But one has to tolerate and overlook. It's part of the austerity that we have to perform in Krishna consciousness. We do that, then nothing will matter anymore. Nothing will matter. I mean, I've heard sometimes we find that some people will say, oh, actually, to associate with the Kami is much better than associate with the devotees. They say, oh, when I associate with the Kami, when I'm with the Kami, I feel so good, I feel so happy. But with the devotees, they always annoy me, they always get on my nerves, This is what we call Maya. That's Maya. That's just Maya, that's all. Somebody say, oh, associate with the devotees, because devotees are getting on my nerve all the time. It's preferable to associate with the sense enjoyers. To me, it's Maya. It's just Maya. That's it. And you see this all the time. You hear this all the time. So, oh, the sons they be glorifying the coming. So, oh, they're so nice. They're so good. They're so human. They're so this. They're so good. I'd rather associate with them than associate with the other devotees. It's Maya. That's just Maya. But we think it's okay. But it's not. Our real friend, our real associate are the devotees of Krishna. That's our real friend. Other devotees. I've not been comfortable with, since I joined ISKCON about 48 years now, I've not been comfortable with non-devotees. Never been comfortable with non-devotees. Never be comfortable. And we should be that way. Anybody who's chanting Krishna's name, the Lord's name, and running devotional service, they're our friend, even though difficulties there. But in the ultimate sense, they're actually our friend in the ultimate sense. In the ultimate sense. Yeah. All right. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And with that, we are going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute yourselves, and we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our appreciation to our revered speaker for today, His Grace, Ishara Prabhu. Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
All praise to His Grace Ishara Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
All praise to Jagat Guru Param Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. And
Jai.
all Vaishnava